I'm looking forward to the day when life kinda makes sense again. All the arbitrary events and non-existent character motivation in this series would be a tad more stomachable if the world around me made a little more sense. Certainly, dear reader, you might look at your own life and struggle to make heads or tails of it. Why are you here? What's the point of life? Why do you always seem to run out of milk and peanut butter 2 days before grocery day? But trust me, by comparison, my life today is several times harder to make sense of than yours, even if you're a mime. Take Violator, for example. I am positive that whenever he speaks, his thoughts and words are his own and not mine. Yet, for whatever reason, my hand is the force behind the hinging and unhinging of his jaw whenever he speaks. At one time, I worried this was proof of my declining mental stability, but now I'm sure that if that's true, this whole place exists because my marbles have all dropped unceremoniously out of my head, and an action figure that uses my hand to make itself wisecrack is the least of my worries. I suppose I'll know if this place was just screwing with me, or if Captain Cog has it right and I've trapped myself in a psychotic self-torturous delusion when I find myself writing an entry for day 366 of Spawn year. At any rate, just like Spawn, I can't get rid of the irritating, incessantly rambling Violator. After day 302, when I finally managed to channel some of my Mountain Dew plasm into a really useful, powerful energy ball, I've continued to maintain more control of my manifestation powers. But every now and then, my concentration slips, especially if a comet catches me unaware somehow, and I'll materialize something I didn't really want. Now, in my defense, I had no reason to expect to see Violator in this comic, just because Clown shows back up. He was a wandering possessor spirit who needed a host body to function. How can he even still turn into Violator? He couldn't do that when he was inhabiting Wynn's body. So now my Violator's back, like a college roommate you were glad to be rid of, but who tries to move back in every time he's in between jobs or divorces. Somehow he knows I've been working out on my own, preparing for my impending bout with the emissary of Coke, and he thinks he's my fitness trainer.
Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Open up your hate and let it flow onto me.
I've been humoring him for the last few hours just because it's kinda nice to have some company, and better a harmless plastic moron than a psycho and doomsayer that look just like me and a couple of disturbing Batmen, all with their own agendas. Oh, don't worry, I won't let Violator distract me too long. He's going right back to the nothingness from whence he came as soon as I'm done with him. And yes, I am using him and then discarding him, and if that seems cold and cruel and heartless, maybe you're the one suffering a break from reality because you're sympathizing with a plastic toy who only talks when my hand moves his mouth up and down. In Spawn 168, we learned that Clown was somehow still on Earth during the apocalypse, and sensing that he was going to wind up in a limbo between realities if he didn't think fast when Spawn recreated the Earth and cut it off from heaven and hell, he jumped into one of the few humans who wasn't killed in the Celestial War, a man in the previously established apartment building who was trapped in a garbage chute and lived off trash for a month. I'd love to know how he got any water.
Some days, you just can't get rid of a clown.
So right away, this feels like a flimsy excuse to bring back major familiar villains for this so-called new direction, because there's a whole lot of pretty obvious dangling questions I can't help but pluck out of the air and ask. What was Clown doing before all this? If he was still on Earth, why not keep wreaking havoc or vacation in Malibu or go see, what was out in 2007? Ratatouille a bunch of times. Maybe he'd take the message of anyone can cook to heart and pick up a new and less destructive hobby. I use the phrase take to heart in a sentence with Violator as its subject.
Heartless, but not armless.
Anyway, my point is, why wasn't he in someone else's body when the world was going to heck? Seeing as Clown sort of mixes with his host to create a blended persona, which happens here too, kind of, he may worry about not having complete control of the person he takes over, but the longer he inhabited Wynn, the more Clown he seemed to be and the less Wynn was even present. So I don't know why he wouldn't just do that again. Seems better than just being a spirit floating in the air. And what about all those people he assimilated during Night of a Thousand Clowns? They all seemed like easily controlled puppets. As usual, I don't know what the rules are, and neither does David Hein. Clown stays trapped in the garbage chute until he kills a woman for spraying into it for roaches constantly, and now he's not trapped anymore. I guess he was biding his time until he had produced enough evil from the building's tenants that it opened a portal back to hell. For some reason, instead of controlling them all directly, Clown just plants this idea in their heads of doing whatever they want, muting their inhibitions and letting their darkest and most twisted desires out. Clown gets this doorway open to summon more demons from hell, and I'm not really sure why he wants to do that. Maybe he's lonely, like me.
Did he label it like that so he wouldn't forget where he put hell?
There's kind of a weak message about self-control and consequences to giving in to primal instincts at the end, as the building's tenants are held more responsible for all the violence they do than Clown is. But it really feels like Clown's influence was much stronger than a little push or a whisper. So Spawn, Sam, and Twitch bring in the man's wife to appeal to his personality inside Violator, and the man tries to fight Clown and ultimately fails. I like how he takes total control, and then slowly the two personalities begin to blur. He starts to sound more sarcastic and vile until he's totally Violator again.
Heh, Violator.
I think focusing on this twisted perversion of a man's psyche, this inner war between two entities within a body until both are lost or one takes over, could have made this a stronger story and feel less like a contrived excuse to get Violator back in here.
Maybe that guy should just slap himself in the face.
Clown and the man, both fighting for dominance, grab the wife as Spawn throws Clown into the hell portal. Clown is the only thing keeping it open on this side, but considering Spawn cut Earth off from hell, I question Clown's ability to open it in the first place. But whatever, the rules are whatever this particular issue needs them to be. Worried that monsters will come through, Spawn implores Sam and Twitch to sacrifice the woman and let her and Clown both go. So they go to hell, the portal closes, and I'm supposed to be left with a healthy reminder of the inherent savagery of human nature, as well as the occasional necessity of moral compromise. But this isn't really the same scenario as closing a door on someone trying to outrun a raging inferno who has no hope of surviving in order to save everyone else already out of danger unless the door stays open. We don't even see any demons on their way up the shaft. Really? Spawn can't whip out some chains and dislodge the woman from Clown's grasp before monsters show up that he can't even see yet? And Twitch, who never misses, can't try to shoot Clown and miss the girl? I don't buy Sam giving up so fast. He's right, Twitch. Let it go. Nobody even tries to rescue her? This would have been a great time to infuse this book with a little optimism. Hey, no, there's a new direction. No heart, this book. And yeah, I said heart again. Because we need fewer disembodied hearts and more actual heart.
I've got heart. Oh.
This thing is totally out of touch with its sense of humanity, manufacturing drama and tragedy, but never letting its characters feel anything real, so I appreciate the gloom. Oh, and guess what? All this happened because Maman planned it that way. Of course. Most pointless reboot ever. Sorry, Violator, but we've already done this dance, and I refuse to be stuck in perpetual limbo like this book. It's time to move forward. Signed, Captain Spawn.